No matter how far he runs, no matter how much he tries to distract himself, one truth keeps chasing Conrad Fisher he can't stop thinking about. Belly. It's like her name is carved into every wave that hits the shore, every sunset that paints the sky, and every quiet moment when the world slows down. Even when he tells himself to move on, her memory pulls him back, again and again, as if the universe refuses to let him forget. Section 1. The weight of memory. Conrad carries his memories of Belly like an anchor tied to his heart. He tries to live as if she isn't there, as if she's just another summer that slipped away, but his mind betrays him. The smallest things remind him of her. A song playing on the radio pulls him back to the nights they sat in silence watching the stars. The smell of salt in the air takes him back to the beach, where her laughter mixed with the sound of crashing waves. Even the way the wind brushes his skin reminds him of the way she used to brush hair away from her face. Simple gestures that now feel like permanent echoes in his mind. Everywhere he goes, she lingers. At times, Conrad tries to convince himself that it's just nostalgia, that these memories are fading shadows of what once was. But deep down, he knows it's more than that. Belly wasn't just another part of his summer, she was the center of it. She was the reason he noticed how beautiful the world could be, and the reason the world feels empty without her. What makes it harder is his own silence. He remembers the words he never said, the confessions he kept buried, and how those unspoken feelings now weigh on him more than anything else. It's not just the memory of Belly that haunts him, it's the memory of what he never had the courage to share. And no matter how hard he tries to lock those thoughts away, they slip through the cracks in the quiet moments, reminding him of the truth he can't run from. Belly is still the one he can't let go of. Section 2. Flashbacks of summer memories. Don't fade for Conrad. They replay like scenes from a film he can't stop watching. When he closes his eyes, he sees the summers that changed everything. The first flashback is always the same. Belly running down the beach, her hair catching the sunlight, her laughter louder than the ocean waves. It's so vivid he feels like he's still there, standing in the sand, watching her come alive in a way that only summer could make possible. Then there are the quiet moments, the ones no one else noticed. The way she'd sit beside him, close enough that he could feel her warmth, but far enough that it left him wondering if she would ever choose to bridge the space between them. He remembers her voice when she whispered secrets meant only for the night. Soft words carried by the breeze, words he never forgot. But the flashbacks aren't always kind. Sometimes they hit him when he least expects them, when he's studying, when he's driving, even when he's trying to sleep. He'll suddenly hear her calling his name, or see her smile so clearly it feels like she's right there beside him. And for a second, he almost lets himself believe it's real. But reality always crashes back, reminding him that those moments belong to the past. What hurts the most is how ordinary those memories seemed back then. Just a walk on the pier, just a stolen glance, just another summer night. But now, they feel like treasures he can never get back. Every flashback is a reminder of how much he lost without even realizing it at the time. For Conrad, the past isn't gonna knits alive, replaying itself in every heartbeat, every thought, every dream. And no matter how much he tries, he can't stop living in those summers with Belly. Section 3. The conflict inside Conrad. Conrad's heart is a battlefield. Belly is the reason why. On the outside, he wears the mask of someone who has everything under control. He stays quiet, distant, calm, like nothing ever shakes him. But inside, it's chaos. He's torn between two sides of himself. The part that wants to hold on to Belly forever, the part that tells him he has to let her go. It's a war that never ends, and no matter which side wins, Conrad is the one who loses. He tells himself he's better off staying silent, that showing his feelings would only hurt her, would only hurt him. But the truth is, silence hurts more. It builds a wall between them, a wall he created brick by brick, every time he chose not to speak. And now that wall feels impossible to tear down. When he looks at Belly, he wants to say everything, how she changed him, how he can't stop thinking of her, but the words never leave his lips. Fear holds them hostage. Fear of being too late, fear of being too much, fear of ruining everything. Yet no matter how hard he tries to bury his emotions, they find a way back to the surface. A glance in her direction makes his heart race. A simple memory can leave him restless for hours. He feels the weight of loving someone who may never fully be his. It leaves him caught between desire and restraint. What makes this conflict unbearable is the love he feels for the people around him. Conrad isn't just protecting himself, he's protecting Belly and even Jeremiah. He knows his silence is a shield, but it's also a cage. He's trapped inside, suffocating under the weight of everything unsaid. And every time he watches Belly laugh, or sees her eyes light up when Jeremiah is around, the cage tightens, reminding him that love and pain often live in the same place. For Conrad, the conflict isn't just about love, it's about identity. Who is he if he lets himself feel? Who is he if he admits the truth? These questions haunt him, keeping him locked in a storm of his own making. And while the world sees calm skies when they look at him inside, Conrad is fighting a hurricane that only Belly can calm. Section 4. Belly's impact on him. Belly isn't just a memory to Conrad, she's the thread that ties together every version of himself. Before her, life was simpler, quieter, almost numb. But when Belly stepped into his world, she brought a light that Conrad never realized he needed. She had this way of noticing the little things, of finding joy where no one else bothered to look. And without even trying, she changed the way he saw everything. When Conrad thinks of Belly, it isn't just about love, it's about transformation. She's the reason he learned what it meant to feel deeply, even when those feelings terrified him. She taught him that connection could be as simple as sitting in silence together, and as powerful as looking into someone's eyes and realizing they see all the parts of you you're afraid to show. Conrad never asked for that kind of impact, but once Belly was in his life, there was no turning back. She shaped the way he loves, the way he dreams, the way he fears. Every decision he makes carries a trace of her influence, whether he admits it or not. When he pulls back, it's because he's protecting her. When he stays quiet, it's because her happiness matters more than his own. Every hesitation, every sacrifice, Belly is at the center of it. But the impact isn't only beautiful, it's heavy. Because with Belly came the realization of what he could lose. And Conrad, for all his strength, has always been terrified of loss. Losing her laughter, losing her trust, losing the one person who made the world feel less cold. That fear shaped him as much as the love did. It made him cautious, guarded, always holding back, even when his heart begged him to leap. And yet, no matter how much distance he tries to put between them, her presence lingers in everything. She's in the songs he can't stop listening to. She's in the places he avoids because the memory of her there is too strong. She's in the way he carries himself, the way his guard slips when he thinks no one's watching. Belly isn't just someone from Conrad's past. She's part of who he is. She's in his laughter, in his pain, in his silence. For Conrad, Belly isn't a chapter he can close. She's the ink written into every page of his story. And even when he tries to rewrite himself, even when he tries to imagine a future without her, he finds that every path leads back to her. Because she isn't just someone he loved, she's someone who changed him forever. Section 5. The what-ifs. Hardest part of loving Belly isn't just missing her, it's living with the questions that will never leave Conrad alone. The what-ifs haunt him like shadows, following him into every quiet corner of his life. What if I had told her the truth sooner? What if I hadn't pulled away when she needed me the most? What if I had been brave enough to love her out loud instead of in silence? These thoughts don't come gently. They hit him like waves, sudden and overwhelming. He'll be sitting in a crowded room, pretending to listen to someone talk, when suddenly his mind drifts back to Belly and the spiral begins. He sees the moments when he could have spoken up, when he could have changed everything with just a few words. He replays them over and over, rewriting the lines, giving himself the courage he didn't have back then. But no matter how many times he rewrites the past in his head, the truth never changes. He stayed quiet, and that silence cost him. The what-ifs are not just regrets, they're ghosts. They creep into his dreams. They sit beside him in the car. They walk with him down the beach. Every path his mind takes ends up back in the same place, a version of life where he chose differently. where he didn't let fear control him. In that version, maybe Belly is still his. In that version, maybe he's happy. But the cruel thing about what if is that it isn't real. It's a door that never opens, a life he can see but will never step into. And yet Conrad can't let those thoughts go. Because deep down, the what-ifs reveal the truth he tries so hard to hide, that he loved Belly more than he ever admitted. And that love never really left. It lingers in the ache of regret. In the longing for a second chance that might never come, he wonders if Belly ever asks herself the same questions. Does she ever think, what if Conrad had said something sooner? What if he had chosen me instead of pushing me away? Or has she moved on completely, leaving him trapped alone in a maze of regrets? The not knowing cuts deeper than the memories. Because if she has moved on, then the what-ifs belong only to him. A burden he'll carry for the rest of his life. For Conrad, the what-ifs are both torture and hope. Torture because they remind him of everything he lost. And hope because they whisper that maybe, just maybe, it isn't too late. Maybe there's still a chance, no matter how small, that one day the questions won't end in silence. Maybe one day the what-ifs could become reality. Silence has always been Conrad's shield. He hides behind it like armor, convincing himself that saying nothing is safer than saying the wrong thing. But what he doesn't admit, not even to himself, is that silence cuts deeper than words ever could. Because in the spaces where he stayed quiet, everything he wanted slipped away. Every moment with Belly is filled with the things he never said. He remembers sitting beside her on the porch, the night sky stretched out above them, his heart pounding so loudly he swore she could hear it. He wanted to tell her then how much she meant to him, how much she changed his world. But the words stayed locked inside his chest. He thought he had time. He thought another night, another summer, would give him the courage he needed. But time doesn't wait for silence. And now, all he's left with is the memory of what he didn't say. The pain of silence isn't just about Belly. It's about the way it defines him. Conrad is the boy who loved in secret, who sacrificed his own happiness so others could smile. He told himself that keeping quiet was an act of love, that Belly deserved joy even if it wasn't with him. But the truth is, his silence became his prison. He watches from a distance, his heart breaking. While his own voice betrays him by staying still, what makes it unbearable is how silence twists itself into regret. When Belly laughs, Conrad wonders if that laughter could have been his to share. When she looks away, he wonders if speaking up would have kept her gaze. Silence steals possibilities, one after another, until all that remains is emptiness. And for Conrad, that emptiness is louder than any confession he could have made at night. When the world finally slows down, the silence screams the loudest. He replays every moment in his mind, the touches that lingered too long. The glances that carried hidden meanings, the nights that could have ended with truth instead of quiet. His chest aches with the weight of words unsaid, with love unspoken, and though no one sees it, though he carries it alone. Conrad knows this pain is the price of his own choices, because silence isn't neutral. Silence is a decision. And in choosing silence, Conrad lost more than Belly. He lost the chance to ever know what they could have been if he had only spoken. Section 7. Setting. Up the future sits before Conrad, like an unopened letter. It's there, waiting, heavy with possibility, but he's too afraid to break the seal. For so long he has lived inside the past, replaying summers and memories that refuse to fade. But deep down, Conrad knows he can't stay there forever. The question is, will he keep living in silence, or will he finally risk everything to speak? Every step forward feels like a choice. If he lets Belly go, he might finally find peace, but he'll always wonder what could have been. If he fights for her, he risks losing not just her, but the fragile balance with Jeremiah, the brother who has always been his shadow and his mirror. The road ahead is tangled, and Conrad knows that no matter which way he turns, someone will get hurt. The thought paralyzes him, but even as fear grips him, a quiet truth whispers inside him. Time is running out. Summers don't last forever. people move on. And if Conrad waits too long, the chance to tell Belly how he feels might vanish forever. He can already feel it slipping like sand through his fingers, every moment pushing her further away. That urgency builds inside him, pressing against the walls of his silence, daring him to finally break it. The future isn't written yet, and Conrad knows that. It could still hold forgiveness, or maybe even love. It could hold the kind of happiness he has only let himself imagine. But it could also hold heartbreak, rejection, and the sharp sting of realizing he waited too long. That's the risk, and it terrifies him. Still, when he looks toward tomorrow, one thing is clear. Belly is at the center of it. Whether he speaks or stays silent, whether he wins her back or loses her for good, she will always shape the man he becomes. The future may be uncertain, but for Conrad, it will always begin and end with her. And so the question remains. Heavy and unanswered, will Conrad finally find the courage to open his heart? Or will he let silence write his story once again? Section 8. The unspoken truth between them. There is a language Conrad and Belly speak that has nothing to do with words. It's in the way his eyes linger on her just a second too long. It's in the way her laughter softens when he's near. It's in the pauses, the stolen glances, the almost confessions that hang in the air, but never quite land. They both feel it's a truth that lives between them, but neither one says it out loud. For Conrad, this unspoken truth is both comfort and torment. Comfort, because it means she knows, in some small way, what he's never been able to say. Torment, because knowing isn't the same as hearing the words, and silence always leaves room for doubt. He wonders if Belly questions it too, if she ever lies awake replaying their moments, wondering if what she felt from him was real, or if to her it was all in his head. Sometimes Conrad thinks she must know. The way she looked at him that night by the ocean, the way she held his gaze like she was searching for answers, how could she not? In her eyes, he saw recognition, the kind that only happens when two hearts are silently speaking to each other. And yet she never pushed him to say more. Maybe she was waiting. Maybe she was afraid. Or maybe she simply chose not to open a door she knew he wasn't ready to walk through. But that truth doesn't disappear. It hangs between them like unfinished music, a song that could have been beautiful, but never found its final note. Every time they are together, Conrad feels it pressing against his chest, begging to be set free. And Belly feels it too, even if she doesn't admit it. The unspoken truth is like gravity. It pulls them back toward each other, no matter how far they drift apart. The tragedy is that unspoken truths can't last forever. Eventually, they demand to be faced. And for Conrad, the question is whether that truth will finally come out in time, or whether it will remain trapped between them, buried under silence and lost opportunities, because the truth is simple, and it has always been the same. Conrad loves Belly. He always has. And no matter what he does, that love refuses to die. Section 9. The breaking point. Every heart has a limit, and Conrad is nearing his. For so long, he has carried his feelings like a secret weight, pressing them down, locking them away. But the heavier it gets, the more it threatens to break him. He can hide behind silence, but he can't hide from himself. His heart knows what it wants, and no matter how tightly he tries to control it, the truth leaks out in the smallest ways. The breaking point doesn't come all at once. It builds slowly. In the quiet moments when Belly's name catches in his throat, in the sharp pang of jealousy when he sees her smile at Jeremiah, in the ache of watching her move forward while he stands frozen in place. Each moment adds another crack to the walls he's built, and he can feel them starting to crumble. Sometimes it hits him like a wave too strong to ignore. He feels it in his chest, in the way his hands clench, in the way his breath stutters when Belly is near. He tries to act calm, to play the part of someone unaffected, but inside he is unraveling. The mask is slipping. He knows he can't keep it on much longer. The breaking point isn't just about Belly, it's about Conrad himself. For years he has carried the weight of responsibility, of protecting others, of being the one who never lets emotions show. But now, with Belly, the burden is too heavy. He can't be silent forever. He can't keep living with regret, with what-ifs, with the ache of love unspoken. Something has to change, And that truth terrifies him as much as it frees him, because the breaking point is dangerous. It's the place where control shatters, where silence can no longer hold. For Conrad, it's the edge of a cliff, and he's standing right at the brink, knowing that once he falls, there will be no turning back. And deep down, he wonders when that moment comes. When his silence finally breaks Will Belly, be ready to hear the truth he's carried all this time. Or will it be too late?